Good evening, sports fans! Crobat for the win of the TheTokenMinorities, here today with Season 8, Week 8 of the NPL. This is my team builder against Matty Brollic, the Los Angeles Reshirams, and an arch rival of mine, so I better win this game or else bad things happen. Why don't we list off his team real quick? As you can see, it's actually in the sidebar, per usual. Celesteela, Latios, Mimikyu, Nidoking, Dhelmise, Keldeo, Azelf, Licky Licky, Musharna, Lapras, and Mega Tyranitar. Of course, Celesteela is a Z-move user, Musharna is a Z-move user. So, some big threats. Obviously, we can all see Celesteela is a big threat. The way it can set up in my face, the way it can use Beast Boost, it's got a lot going for it every time. It can also be defensive, it's got so much. So Latios, of course, it's just a fast dragon, and my team has certainly struggled against faster dragons. I'll do a wrap-up of the season when my season ends, and talk about what I think of my draft, what I learned and stuff later, but it definitely, my team doesn't have an easier time with something like Latios, and I'll even say Mimikyu is actually pretty threatening. I don't have as much as I would like to deal with it, so I'm going to try to utilize one mon in particular to hopefully neutralize it as best as I can. Alrighty, so why don't we jump into the team? Alright, so for the first mon, we've got Gothorida's debut, Entropy, Eviolite, Shadow Tag, Rest, Toxic, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. Okay. This was my 1-point pickup, and this was the reason why I got it. It just goes hog wild against Latios, against Nidoking, and against Keldeo. And I guess you could say Lapras too, but I don't think he's going to bring that. So those 3 or 4 mons are flat out walled by this thing. Nidoking can't even do, 40%. And I can just do a bunch of damage with Psychic, rest it off. Like, it's just got something good going for it. Depending on what type of Nidoking it is, it might even be 30%. That's the crazy part about this. There's the Latios can't do much either. Maybe a Draco, but Draco does about 50%, and it's going to be left with a -2 special attack while it can't switch out due to Shadow Tag. Crazy, huh? Keldeo, Hydro Pump doesn't do even more than half, does less than half. He's going to miss occasionally, of course. Scald does like 20-something%, nothing crazy. Sacred Sword, do you even think that's going to do damage? No, it won't do any damage. And I will get to trap him in. Toxic, Psychic, I can play around. I got so many options there. And this basically checks, counters, whatever you want to call it, all of those mons. So that's what I'm going with it for. It's max special defense, because those are all basically special sweepers. You guys are going to see it fly. I like this set this week. I know it's a risk, but I think it's a risk that'll definitely pay off. Next up, we've got Lantern, another favorite of mine actually. I'm starting to really like it. I used it last week, it did a great job. I'm hoping it prevails again this week, so it's pretty mixed bulk this week. CSTR, of course, is the nickname. Leftovers, Water Absorb. That is important to note because it's for the Keldeo. Discharge, Scald, Heal Bell, and Volt Switch. Now you're going to say maybe it's a little bit redundant coverage, but I really wanted the ability to Volt Switch out, and I also think Discharge is really important if I need to get damage plus paralysis chance on something on his team. So the EVs as is, or so that way Sacred Sword does not 2-hit KO ever, because obviously it hits defense, and that's why some of those EVs are in defense. But other than that, just to be max, especially bulky to deal with Latios and other things that might pose some difficulty for the rest of the team. I wanted to support my Gothorita with this mon as well, because there's no way Gothorita would be able to take on all 3. So whatever it can't take on, this is here as well. Next up, for our mons, we've got Mamoswine, Packed Bed, Icicle Plate, Thick Fat, Stealth Rock, Ice Shard, Icicle Spear, and Earthquake. So it's pretty much just max attack, speed, it's got a good amount of speed, enough for, I think it was max speed Mega Tyranitar, I want to say. So, pretty straightforward. Stealth Rock, I needed something to set up rocks. Ice Shard is for to hit Latios and other things with priority. Icicle Spear is basically for Mimikyu if I ever get to that point, so that way it'll break the illusion first round, or whatever, what is it called? Disguise, sorry, not illusion, illusion Zoroark. It'll break Disguise first, hit, and then hit hopefully 4 other times, and KO. Earthquake, of course, is more coverage, and I don't see any reason to use Earthquake very much other than Mega Tyranitar, so I just went and thought Icicle Plate would be a better item here, because I'm going to be using Icicle Spear or Ice Shard 99% of the time anyways. Earthquake is really just for Tyranitar, more or less, maybe a little bit Keldeo, but yeah, it's already a KO against Mega Tyranitar anyways, so that's pretty much it. Let's go on to the next mon, which is Tornadus-therian. I really like this set actually. It's Fire EMZ, Regenerator, Heat Wave, Hurricane, Defog, and U-Turn. So it's max special attack, good amount of speed. It's enough for, I believe, I want to say Latios. I think that's his fastest mon, so it should be Latios. And by the way, Heat Wave is powered up by Fire Em, and that is exactly for Celesteela. Now, I know Celesteela packs Protect. I am already planning on that. I'm hoping to bait the Fire EMZ, or bait that I don't have the Fire EMZ, I should say, by going for Heat Wave a bunch of times first. I want him to feel comfortable that he can take a Heat Wave, and then when he's at 60% health, maybe 65% health, I'll go for the Z move Heat Wave, Z Heat Wave, and KO a Celesteela when he does not expect it. That's my hope, but I think either way it has a very good matchup, especially with Regenerator and U-Turn. I can just move on out of there as much as I want. Alright, so for the next mon for the week, we've got Choppleberry, Cobalion, Justified Ability, Swords Dance, Iron Head, Close Combat, and Volt Switch. Now, this mon is largely for Mimikyu, and Tyranitar to a large extent as well. Now, both of them are hit pretty hard by this. I just would have to break the Disguise, ideally. If I could do it with a Volt Switch, that'd be great. But otherwise, it just has such good bulk in natural defense that it can take any attack from Mimikyu very well. And Choppleberry is in case he has Drain Punch Mimikyu, possibly Superpower Tyranitar, stuff like that. So it would be very beneficial to me if I can keep this thing at as high of health as possible. Possibly late game when Mimikyu likely will have an easier time going through my team. And finally, we've got Victini. Pretty straightforward. Choice Scarf, Victory Star, U-Turn, V-Create, Bolt Strike, and Trick. Now, the only 2-3 moves I should say I'll be using are U-Turn, V-Create, and Bolt Strike. Trick is just there as basically a filler. If you look at his team, there is no other move that I could reasonably use ever. There's just no point, considering all these other moves do more damage anyways. So I just like, alright, maybe for some reason I'll be able to trick Musharna. I don't know, maybe. Probably won't happen, but those other 3 moves are excellent. I'll be U-turning a lot. I'll definitely V-create when I have to. I'll Bolt Strike if I need to, especially on the Keldeo. I've got a lot going for me here. I'm looking forward to using this set as well. So that's pretty much it for the week, actually. I am looking forward to the game. It's going to be up tomorrow. Sports Center is going to be hitting you live tomorrow morning. I think at 11 a.m. I'll see you guys then.